I'm Joel Addis, and this is my introduction video for Education EDL 854. My current position is the COVID-19 Site Coordinator for Derby Public Schools. I oversee a couple of teams and coordinate our responses to COVID in the district, including helping the health department with contact tracing and then contacting families, and also our daily antigen testing program, which allows students to stay in school when they've been identified as close contacts. I spent about 15 years as a special education elementary teacher in Derby at 3 of their elementary schools. And then I've also been a para substitute teacher and a custodian. I've been in the district for 20 years. Served on multiple committees, chaired the Special Education Advisory Council for about 10 years now. I've also served on building committees and district ones. In addition to my work, I'm also president of our teachers union, Derby National Education Association. So some of my duties related to that position are collaborating with our executive committee and building representatives, meeting regularly with district leadership to discuss interests and concerns as they arrive from the certified bargaining unit. We organize events for district staff and the community, such as our new teacher breakfast or Board of Education candidate events. We have a standing spot on regular BOE meetings, and so I speak at each one. And then, again, some committee work and representing our association at the state and national level. I've been married to my wife for 16 years, Angela. She's a elementary band teacher in Hayesville, Kansas. And then we have 3 sons. Our oldest, Wilson, is in 6th grade. Our middle son, Henry, is in 3rd grade. And our youngest, Oscar, is in 1st. So now moving on to the reflection piece of this assignment. So the 10 things that I really stuck out for me from the resources and how they are significant. The first one is that public school funding comes from 3 different levels. You know, a lot of the times we think of federal funding for education, but really the majority, vast majority of those funds come from the state and local levels. And the federal funds only make up a minimal amount, approximately 8%. And this is reflective of what the U.S. Constitution recognizes, that localities know what meets the needs of their communities best. The next item is that the responsibility for providing adequate funding to schools falls on the states. So the legislatures in our state have that responsibility. And in Kansas, it's actually in our state constitution. The third is that the federal government cannot create mandates for schools that are not funded. And so I know even some of these are partially funded, but the point is that schools and districts can refuse that federal funding if they don't participate in the related program the money is allocated for. And some of those programs are Title I, ELL, Reading First, Special Education, and Improving Teacher Quality grants. The next item, kind of moving now to the principal, is just that the principal is defined as that higher administrator in an individual building, and their roles are expansive and have grown in recent years. And then financially, they include understanding the building's finances, reviewing budget, spending and allocated funds, being aware of regulations and rules regarding school monies, establishing, or for larger districts, following purchasing procedures, and then recording income and spending to appropriate parties. The next item is that each school has a defined budget. And this is important because each school has a certain amount of money that they can spend. The next is that local communities support school operations through fundraising. And fundraising is important because it allows additional money to be donated to the school that can typically be spent at the discretion of the principal. And at the same time, it also provides an opportunity for communities to engage and invest in their school. The next item is that the principal must track any revenue that comes in to the school and how that money is spent. So that kind of ties into the 2 previous ones, with that revenue being, you know, in addition to what is allocated at the district level, fundraising monies, but then also keeping track of what is spent in each specific pot that it can be spent in. And then, you know, even in larger districts, principals are responsible for tracking their buildings' budgets. The next item is that this strong understanding of a school finance, when a principal has it, it benefits their students because the goal is to positively impact student learning. And when a principal understands school finance, it allows them to allocate that money in a more effective and efficient way. Now, the next item is, even though principals are viewed as the leader in their building, and they are, they also most of the time work within a system of building level and district level administrators to manage the funding that's provided by the legislators. And so even though the principal is the boss of their building, they exist in districts where a finance department in a central office allocated resources for their building, but then also the district level. And then really the last one is that schools have limited resources. When I was sitting at the bargaining table, our finance director made the comment that, schools aren't like businesses. They can't make more widgets to increase the amount of money that they have. It's defined by the students in their district. And so it's important that schools and districts prioritize how that money's spent to have the maximum impact on student learning. And so the question of that is, who can decide to spend that money the most effectively? Is it at the district level or in the building? So when I reflect on this course and the concerns I would have about being in charge of a school budget as a future school leader, honestly, I've had a long career in education at this point. And, when we were covering school law, I've had some experience with school law. Evaluations, I've been evaluating paras and people that I've managed for a long time now. Mission and vision statements and objectives and goals, I've done that as part of my role as association president. Special education, I've worked in special education for a very long time. The coursework that I have no direct experience with is educational finance. And so I'm really looking forward to learning a lot in this class and really building my capacity in this area. Here are my references from the source. And thank you. And I really look forward to learning with you this 9 weeks.